Hello everyone and welcome back to your monthly dose of brand new book releases. Today we're going to be focusing on a bunch of brand new fantasy, sci-fi, and horror releasing in the month of May. Mostly all fantasy this time around, I'm going to be honest. So get that list out, bring up your Goodreads, Amazon, whatever you have, because this list is a really exciting one. Now you'll have to excuse me, I am a little bit under the weather today, which is why I have a very deep, sultry voice today. But before we dive in, I want to thank Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. As you know, Mother's Day is coming up real soon. And if you are looking for the perfect item to give to your mom or guardian, or maybe you're a mom yourself and you want to get yourself something, Ana Luisa is perfect. They are a New York-based company who create beautiful, sustainable jewelry with the earth in mind. They use recycled gold and silver to create all of their pieces. They avoid unnecessary mining and excessive markups, and they sent me some pieces to show off today. So I am always showing off their gold pieces, but I do have a silver piece today, and that is the necklace that I'm wearing, which is called Laura Bold Silver, which features squared off links, and somehow it still remains shiny and is honestly the perfect necklace to pair with other more statement pieces as well. It's a really nice subtle complement and super lightweight. I can't even feel it. I also have this gold bracelet called Colette, which is perfectly made for stacking up with other bracelets or styling solo. It's a simple ball and chain design that is plated in 14K gold with a polished finish. I actually really like the edgy look that this one gives, and it fits my style really well. And to complete the whole look, I have this gold ring called Oran Double Pave. It's slim and still super shiny, and it features cubic gemstones for the perfect amount of sparkle. I just absolutely love the design on this one. So check out Ana Luisa by clicking my link down below and shopping their Mother's Day sale. Whether for your mom, dog mom, cat mom, mom friend maybe, there is sure to be something that will spark joy. Thanks again, Ana Luisa, for working with me today. We are starting on May 7th, and we have the Silver Blood Promise. This is actually one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year, so I'm really excited to be starting my list off with it. It just sounds like pure epic fantasy goodness and kind of like Game of Thrones. The story here follows Lucan, a disgraced heir to an ancient noble house, as he learns of his father's mysterious murder and sets out to uncover the truth. Lots of puzzle unraveling. I'm always up for a good murder mystery kind of fantasy, like the Justice of Kings, for instance. There's actually a few books on this list today that I will be reading myself in May, and this is one of them. And maybe this next one too, The Sword Unbound. This is the sequel to The Sword Defiant, which is a book that I loved last year. I almost consider the series to be a Lord of the Rings retelling in a way. It's set in a world of a very classic trope, good versus evil, but written in a really unique way in my opinion. We get to see the aftermath of the world that was destroyed, and this is the continuation to that. The cleanup, the trials, the tribulations. This is dark fantasy at its finest. And hopefully the sequel expands on everything that I loved in its predecessor. Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. This is a indie published cozy fantasy series that Tor is actually picking up and is publishing themselves in May. It perfectly fits in the same realm as Legends and Latte, so if that's a book that you really enjoyed, you should probably check out this one. We follow Reyna, who works as one of the queen's guards, and we also follow one of the most powerful mages in the realm, and they decide to start a courtship, move in together, and open up a bookshop. But Reyna gets a bounty on her head, so they are forced to stay undercover. It sounds really cute and sweet and simple, and sometimes that's just all you need. The Brides of High Hill, which is what, like the 6th or 7th book in the Singing Hill Cycle series. I've talked about them on this channel in various book releases videos. It's a series of novellas that can be read separately, but they do all have interlocking stories and characters. This one apparently has some gothic twist to it, and it makes it sound really spooky, which is so cool and right up my alley. We have some old manor house, a lord and his bride, and some mystery at play. Now, I have only read the first 3 books in this series, but I might just read this one out of order because why not? Blood at the Root. This is a really cool sounding YA fantasy debut about a teenager with extraordinary hidden powers, and while fleeing, he stumbles upon this, I guess, like magical university and discovers his long lost family. So it sounds like we have a mix of contemporary / urban fantasy and academia as well, with a focus on young Black and queer characters. I feel like the book community is always looking for a good superhero story, and this one sounds like it's going to be it for you. The Sins on Their Bones. Get ready because there is so much going on for this one. It sounds really interesting. So it's a queer dark fantasy debut that is set in a Jewish folklore-inspired reimagining of 19th century Eastern Europe. It's being pitched for fans of Leigh Bardugo, so that kind of gives us the vibe that it's going for. It's following two estranged husbands and a spy master on opposite sides of a civil war. I hope this is as rich as it sounds, and I'm loving the cover already. Okay, we are finally moving on to May 14th, which is a day that has a lot of books coming out on it. First, we have When Among Crows. This is a tiny novella story. I actually have a physical arc of this, and it's like a pamphlet. It's written by Veronica Roth that is set in a magical contemporary world, specifically Chicago, and it's steeped in Slavic lore and magic. I believe it's about Chicago being divided by both humans and creatures that feed off of fear and provoke sorrow in people, and we follow characters from the Holy Order, which is an organization that hunts them down in order to kill them, and this takes a lot of courage, apparently. I know I would be a scaredy cat to do that job. This sounds really cool. I wish it was a full-length novel because I have trouble getting into novellas these days, but nonetheless, this sounds like an exciting one. A Crane Among Wolves. I saw this cover and knew immediately that I needed to talk about it. This is a half murder mystery, half palace drama that transports readers into the ancient Joseon dynasty of Korea. We have this tyrant king who rules with cruelty, who has kidnapped our main character's sister, and then we have a secondary character who is a prince and he seeks to overthrow his brother. There's so much going on here. A beautiful cover to match, and I know this is going to be high up on a lot of your TBRs. Up next, I have Puzzle Heart. I love this cover so much. It's just so fun and bubbly, and that's saying a lot for someone who likes their bloody dark fantasy. It's a middle grade following Perigee, who is a non-binary child, and their father takes a trip back to his childhood home, except that the house is special and magical, and I'm assuming full of puzzles. It sounds like just like one big escape room. I don't know. I think it's going to be a fun read, and I just had to include it here on my list. Probably way too young for me, but I always gotta throw a curveball at you every now and then. The Last Re-Witch, another new middle grade that sounds like a great summer read. It's a story set in Washington State that blends magic and Korean folklore. We have our main character who can't stop rhyming when she speaks, so she is sent to this camp for the summer, but finds out quickly she is being chased by a witch. It sounds a little on the spooky side, but has that like fun summer camp setting, kind of like Percy Jackson. Add in some like Korean myths and friendship, and I think it sounds like a good read. Spitting Gold. This is a debut historical mystery that I've seen compared to If Practical Magic and Penny Dreadful Had a Baby, and that sounds delightful. The story here follows two con women who have one last score before they can put their past behind them, and this is helping an aristocratic French family learn the truth of their ancestors' murder during the French Revolution. I've seen reviews saying this also has a spooky side to it with like Ouija boards and Salem vibes, which I personally love. A lot of spooky reads coming out this summer. You know what's not a spooky read? The Honey Witch. This is a cozy romantasy with a beautiful cover that follows a generational family of witches who are cursed to not be able to love, basically. I have read this one. It wasn't for me, but I can absolutely see how someone would love this. It's written very beautifully. It's set in the 1800s and is a story about family and loss, some magical happenings behind the scenes that our main character discovers when her grandmother reappears in her life with some news, and she moves to an island to develop her powers, which includes honey and bees. It's a very interesting concept. Finally, moving on to May 21st, we have Goddess of the River. This is a companion novel to this author's previous book, Kaiki, but you can read them both separately. Their mythology stories do connect, though, within the Hindu epic. In Goddess of the River, we are following Ganga and her son, and it's a beautiful tale of a mother and son's bond, and how even a god can learn to have love for humanity through their own growing sense of what it means to be human. If Hindu retellings are your thing, then definitely check this one out. How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying, a very manga/anime sounding title. This is another highly anticipated release for me. Django Wexler is an author I have really enjoyed in the past, and this is his brand new adult fantasy that takes the perspective of a villain. Well, sort of. We follow Davy, who has been transported into a fantasy world and is told that she's the chosen one, tasked to defeat the Dark Lord, but she's over it super quickly and becomes a Dark Lord herself. It sounds really funny and lighthearted, probably a sassy main character, I assume. I can't wait to read it, and I will be in May. It's part of my May TBR. Moving along to May 28th, we have Dreadful. Now, this book sounds right up my alley and something that I'm going to really enjoy. It's a lighthearted comedy fantasy romp that reinvents the classic fantasy trope of the evil villain and makes readers question, is the villain really all that bad? Is what they're doing so terrible? We have Gav, our main character, who wakes up with no memory. He's in a dark, gloomy castle filled with goblins and a princess locked in the dungeon, and he's all confused. I need to read this. I'm going to read this. And finally, the last book on this list, I believe, unless I missed one, but is Evocation, a brand new series by S.T. Gibson called The Summoner's Circle. It's an urban gothic fantasy that shines light on a polyamorous relationship. We mainly follow 3 characters in Boston who are occult practitioners. So we have like dark academia and demonology, curses, supernatural elements in the story. It's actually reminding me a lot of Ninth House from the sound of it. Very secret society. Some reviewers have mentioned it is slower paced, really character driven. So if you want more S.T. Gibson, look no further. Alrighty everyone, so that's all that I have for today and probably all my voice can handle. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this list. What other books that I didn't mention are you excited about? Like this video if you liked, subscribe if you're not. I'd love to have you here. I would love to hit 20,000 subscribers and I can't do it without you, so thank you so much. And before you go, be sure to check out that Ana Luisa offer, which is linked down below for you, and go shop their Mother's Day sale. So until we meet again, happy reading.